In our house, we have this chart that I've drawn on the wall to measure how much Simon and Luke are growing. Maybe you have a chart like this at your home too. And at least for me, it's really kind of crazy to look at this thing and see how big of a jump in growth they've made during their first 6 months of life. How much faster that growth happens during those first few months compared to when they get older. So the remarkable thing is that perhaps the most important factor in all of this growth is sleep. It's when kids are sleeping that the biggest amount of growth hormones are released in the body. So as a result, young kids need between 10 and 12 hours of sleep every night. In other words, as much as kids do during the day, it's when they stop all that doing that the growth really gets going. This same idea happens in other parts of our life too. For grown-ups like me, a lot of our time is dominated by work. And there's a lot of different ways that people organize their work days, but one popular way is called the Pomodoro method. It's named after the Italian word for tomato, pomodoro, because the guy who invented it was Italian, and he was doing this using a tomato-shaped timer in his kitchen. And basically the idea is that you set the timer for 25 minutes or so and work on one thing for that time. And then you take a 5-minute break. And then you work on another thing for 25 minutes and take another 5-minute break. And you keep doing that. And it turns out building these periods of rest into the day helps people to stay sharp and focused and makes us a lot better at our jobs, just like making sure kids get enough sleep helps them grow. As weird as it might seem, stopping from time to time is actually a good thing. So this is part of the idea behind something in the Bible called Sabbath. Sabbath is a word in Hebrew, the language most of the Bible was written in, that means stop, and it has come to mean taking time to rest and let others rest. So for example, one of the 10 Commandments is that the seventh day of the week is supposed to be kept as a Sabbath day in which we do no work and we rest. And in the Bible, the people were supposed to take every 7th year and let the land rest instead of planting crops again. And it turns out that's kind of important, because just like we need rest to grow and be better as people, the earth needs rest too. There's a lot of examples of this. Some plants, like tomatoes, take certain nutrients out of the soil, and if you plant them in the same place 2 years in a row, they won't grow as well the following year. The soil needs to rest first, and have other plants put those nutrients back into the ground before it can do the work of growing tomatoes again. Or maybe you've heard of some trees, especially certain types of pine trees, that release their seeds only in the heat of a fire. It's basically like they wait for the ground to be cleared out and given a chance to rest before they plant new trees and start the work of growing again. So here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to find some ways that you can stop and rest. Maybe it's building breaks into your day. Maybe it's taking a whole day to just stop and put aside all your devices and sit outside enjoying the trees. Maybe it's making sure you get some extra sleep each night. However you do it, find a way to make sure you are really stopping and truly resting.